I guess I'll do a brief video tonight and mark the political obituary of South Dakota Governor Kristi Noam, whose political career died over the past few days as a result of her shooting herself in the ass. After reports came out that in her book she bragged about her exploits of assassinating animals, including a puppy and apparently a goat too later on. Anyway, she had once had a promising career in politics. She was a right-winger, the usual old crap, you know, usual right-wing crap. And she had promise as possible running mate for the orange jumpsuited, let's hope, candidate on the Republican side for president. But nobody is gonna tolerate anybody, I don't care if it's a man or a woman, shooting a defenseless puppy. And apparently this dog was accused of killing chickens, but you know, it's such a old wives' tale. Oh, they taste blood, you can't breed it out of them. All you have to do, or get it out of them, all you have to do is get the dogs fostered out or adopted out. There was no reason to kill that dog. And if there's anything in the world I can't stand to read, is cruelty to animals or children. I can't do it. I just can't tolerate this kind of stuff. So I think her career is basically over with. It said here, Kristi Noam saw polling numbers plummet after The Guardian revealed that she writes in a new book about the day she shot dead a hunting dog and an uncastrated goat, a revelation that ignited a political storm. Announcing what it called its Noam puppy murder poll findings, New River Strategies, a Democratic firm, said 81% of Americans polled disapproved of Noam's decision to shoot Cricket, a 14-month-old wire-haired pointer. Oh, they're beautiful dogs. Who Noam says ruined a pheasant hunt and killed a neighbor's chickens, thereby earning a trip to a gravel pit to die. Oh my God. According to Noam's account, the goat, which Noam did not name, followed Cricket to the pit because Noam deemed his odor and behavior unacceptable on her farm. By Noam's own detailed admission, it took 2 blasts from the shotgun, separated by a walk back to her truck for more shells, to finish the goat off. What a piece of shit. And that is the end of her career. So, thank goddamn God. And thinking that that was anything to brag about or even publicize, it shows you how fucking clueless she is. So anyway, that's the end of that obituary. And anyway, there was also an article from, what the hell is it? Washington Post. That's kind of, that's not the one. Hell, do I even have it? Oh, yeah, that we have a radical democracy. Will Trump voters destroy it? And that was a very long piece. And I'll put it in the link. But it kind of dovetails with the new documentary now available for streaming called Bad Faith, and about the religious right, or so-called Christian Nationalists, taking over, the story of them taking over the Republican Party and now posing a threat to our nation. So you can't make nice with these people that want you dead, literally want you dead. And anyway, the documentary goes into that it would flip back and forth from current times to back in the past, circa 1980, when thanks to the Bob Jones decision, Supreme Court decision, regarding admission of blacks and such, into that university. The religious nuts got so-called evangelicals, got all up in a tizzy, but they couldn't go run on the race card, so Paul Weyrich, he's the recurrent character in all of this saga, but he got together with old Jerry Falwell and they founded the Moral Majority. He also helped found a few years prior, thanks to lots of Joseph Coors money, billionaire or mega millionaire, the beer magnate, started the Heritage Foundation. And then he also was involved starting ALEC. He was involved in committee or whatever it was called for a free Congress. He was everywhere. Paul Weyrich was everywhere to be found in that so-called New Right. And he didn't have that much education. He had a couple of years at college, I think in Wisconsin. But he was a sharp cookie. He was astute. He knew how to organize people, and especially these religious nutters who really weren't interested in politics much at all. But he laid the groundwork for all this crap that we're facing right now. Now, Weyrich was born in 1942 and he died in 2008. And I don't wish, not even Paul Weyrich, what he actually went through in his final years. He was in a wheelchair after an accident or a fall, and he had all kinds of pain. He ended up having his legs amputated, and it was just horrible. And he was only 66 when he died, and it was just bad. But he created a lot of damage to our democracy and our form of government and everything, thanks to enlisting the Kochs and all these billionaires to help fund his activities. And we're reaping the whirlwind. Another character they mentioned in this documentary was Rufus Rushdoony, who I mentioned. He was a crackpot. He was a John Birch Society crackpot, but he was also this self-styled theologian that decided that the country would be better off not just giving up democracy and being a theocracy. And while the New Apostolic Reformation types or the Christian Nationalist types have stolen a lot of his ideas, they don't quite, at least it's early in the day, but they haven't quite yet gone to the extreme that old Rushdoony did with Old Testament style punishment, death penalty for this, death penalty for that. And if kids talk back to their parents, off with your head, you know, that kind of shit. And he was big on the homeschooling movement, Rushdoony, even though he actually had a background in education. And he might have even taught, I think, for a while, before just turning his ideas into, or going into his religious fanaticism. Plus his John Birch Society membership created another monster. But it was the Birch Society stuff that really, if you were honest about it, if a person was honest about it, was the real dominant thing in his idea that it should be a theocracy. And he wasn't stupid. It takes a kind of a genius, an evil genius, to, although it's been done before, he wasn't the first one, but to wrap up a dictatorship idea, fascism, or whatever you want to call it, wrap it up in a religious costume and sell it to the public. But anyway, these nationalists ripped off old Rushdoony. Rushdoony died around 2003 or something like that. So he bit the dust a long time ago. But there are people around now that are trying to bring this about. And it's scary damn shit. So this guy kind of touches on some of it, this Kagan guy, with the Washington Post. But anyway, Bad Faith is really worth seeing. You can download it from various platforms. I wish it was on DVD, but they don't. They, you know, because I like the physical media. But it's, I mean, I pretty much knew all this stuff anyway, because I followed this stuff since I was in high school in the late 1960s and early 70s. So I've always been kind of a student of this far-right stuff and how it's changed over the years and how all the whack stuff started becoming mainstream. But we're at a crossroads right now. And women especially are at a crossroads because you can't make nice with these people. You should never work with them. You should never make nice with them because they are out to destroy all of women's rights. Because, first of all, they're worried about the stinking birth rate. They're getting paranoid about the white birth rate and all this shit. And second of all, they want to keep patriarchy back in, white male patriarchy back in charge of everything. And it's going to fail, but it's just a matter of how many people are that this ruinous idea of a theocracy, how many they take down with them. So I don't think Trump is going to get in there. I don't really think that. As much as they try to talk down Biden and, oh, he's in danger. He isn't in danger. He's not. He's pretty much going to win it. Unless the wild card, of course, is RFK Jr. Although it seems like a lot of what I've seen, supposedly he takes more votes away from Trump than he does from Biden. But anyway, I thought I would talk about a couple of things today. But anyway, that's kind of it about the obituary of Kristi Noam. Dog killer would be the animal killer, the animal whisperer, the dog killer. And anyway, that is it for me.